Right, today we're going to talk about interactions in communities. This is Unit 6, Lesson 3. How do predators and prey interact? So feeding relationships in organisms establish the structure of a community. So previously we've talked about a food web and food chains and how many food chains make up a food web. And those relationships make up how a community goes together. Remember previously we talked about in the organization of an ecosystem, it starts with a relationship, an individual, and then a lot of individuals together make a population, and then groups of populations make up a community, and then all living and non-living things in the environment make up this ecosystem, so it just gets larger and larger and larger. In predator-prey relationships, one animal eats another animal for energy and nutrients. So in Lesson 2 we talked about energy transfer. So for animals, there's not really much emotion involved here except for the fact that they need energy and they need nutrients. So they're eating for energy. A predator eats another animal and the prey is the animal that gets eaten. Most of you probably already know that. You have lots of experience, some of you with hunting and things like that, or maybe you've actually seen some of these things for yourself firsthand in the wild. Predator and prey interact by having adaptations that can help each of them survive. So some predators have things like talons and claws and sharp teeth that help them be able to get their prey. And some have camouflage to help them kind of blend in and hide with their environment so they can sneak up on the prey. Some prey animals, like skunks, defend themselves with chemicals. Some frogs have poison on their skin that helps them stay protected. The sizes of predators and prey population are linked very closely. If one population grows or shrinks, the other population is affected too. So think about the gazelles here with the big X on them. Think about gazelles in Africa on the savannah. If there are lots of gazelles, then the lions will have lots of food to eat, and so there'll be more lions too to eat the gazelles. If there are not very many gazelles, the lions are either going to have to move or die because there's not enough food for them to survive. So if one grows, the other will grow. If one shrinks, the other will shrink. So this one is explaining the very same thing. A population of lions have less or more to eat based on the population of antelope or gazelles. What types of symbiotic relationships are there? So living together. So things have to live together. We're talking predator-prey, but there are also some other long-term close relationships between species in a community, and these are called symbiosis. In symbiosis, the organisms in a relationship can benefit from or be unaffected by or be harmed by the relationship. So a symbiotic relationship where two things benefit is called mutualism. Both of them have a plus. So a bee travels to a flower, and the flower gets pollinated, and the bee gets to have the nectar. So it's a win-win situation. So you can think of plus here. The bee wins and the flower wins. Then there's something called commensalism. It's a symbiotic relationship in which one organism benefits and the other is unaffected. So a shark and a remora fish. The remora fish eats the scraps that fall out of the shark's mouth, and the shark is not benefited at all, but he's also not harmed. He's totally unaffected, but the remora gets the benefit. Here we also have lichens on a tree. You've probably seen this. It kind of looks mossy, but it's not. It's like a bluish, sort of hard like the bark. They use the tree for a living space, but it doesn't hurt the tree at all. Parasitism is a relationship, a symbiotic relationship, where one organism benefits and the other is harmed. So the organism that benefits is called the parasite, and the one that's harmed is called the host. Some parasites live on the host and feed on its blood. Other parasites live in the host body. They can weaken their host so much that the host dies, which actually works as a detriment. That's a bad thing for the parasite because then they have to go find a new host or die themselves. A tick on a dog is a parasitic relationship. So the tick is the parasite and the dog is the host. The dog is harmed and the tick is helped. Why does competition occur in communities? In a biological community, so we're looking at the living things, organisms are going to compete for resources. It's just how it is. Competition occurs when organisms fight for limited resources like food or shelter or sunlight or mates. Sometimes competition happens among individuals of the same species, like different groups of lions competing for mates. So this type of cat is competing for the antelope deer in the area, and so is this type of cat. So they're within the same species, but they're competing for the same food. Or they could be competing for mates. So maybe one or two of the male lions are competing for the female's attention. So they're looking for food, and in this example they're competing for food, and that competition can also happen between mates, looking for mates. Organisms in an extreme cave community interact in ways that help them meet their needs. So predators have special adaptations to help them hunt their prey in the darkness of a cave. So if you think of a bat uses echolocation. They don't really rely on eyesight much. That's where the term blind as a bat comes through, because they're not using their eyesight, so their eyes they're not important, they're not developed. But their hearing is developed, their sound is developed to help them be able to survive in that cave. Some cave dwellers never have to leave the cave because they eat bird dung dropped by the birds in the cave. So they don't even go out of the cave. They're just relying on the resources they have within the cave to be their food. Right, that is one of our quickest ones. I want you to do a visa, and I want you to make sure you've got good questions down so we can have a good discussion in class. Don't forget to get your visa signed.